Hey, let me ask you a question. You like going fast? Do you want what you want sooner rather than later? It's a little something that I call further faster. Well, listen, I'm going to show you 5 things that you can do to go further faster in whatever it is that you do. Come on. And so I regularly ask that question of my audiences and people that have the privilege of influencing their lives. Do you want what you want sooner rather than later? And the answer is usually a resounding yes. Why wait? And it doesn't mean that you don't get to enjoy the process along the way. It's just that you would like to get there a little bit sooner in most cases. So, and by the way, this is for whatever you do. Whether you are, starting a business, or you're looking to change your body, or you're, in your relationship, or whatever that you want, this is going to help you go further faster. So here's 5 things that you can do to help you go further faster in your life. Step number 1 is to find a target. Know where you're going. So the first question that you need to ask yourself is, what do I want? This is critical. Whether it is an improved body or improved relationship or increased focus at work, whatever it is, it's really important that you know your outcome, that you know where you're going. Give your brain a target to go for. Look, I tell this story all the time, this example all the time, and it's absolutely true. That your body will do whatever your brain, your eyes, and your imagination look at. Whatever you imagine, your body can't tell what's real and what's not when you vividly imagine it. People drive into telephone poles even though they don't want to hit the telephone pole because they're looking at the pole. Now, oftentimes in my seminars, sometimes 15, 20,000 people, I'll have them imagine biting into a lemon. And when they do, it makes their mouth water with their eyes closed. And what that shows is their brain can't tell the difference. That they think that it's real. Their brain can't tell the difference. Their body can't tell the difference. But the important thing to understand is this, that the body responds to as though it's real, and it salivates. What does that mean? If you have a target, if you know what you want, and if you look at that target, you know exactly what that target is, then your body is going to do what it takes to get you there. It's going to drive you there. It'll help you get up early, stay up late, do the extra stuff to make it happen just because you focus on that, because you have your target. A basketball player has a target called that hoop, and he or she keeps putting it right there. They know what the target is. Find your target. Get a target first. So what's really important is you understand that this that I'm showing you, it's a process. It's not just education and stuff that you know. It's something to do that's going to change how you feel and how you think and what you do so you get a result sooner rather than later. The second step is to know what stops you, what slows you down. The answer could be fear, it often is, or doubt or uncertainty, or any one of a number of negative emotions. Whatever it is, it's really important that you acknowledge and know what it is. Oftentimes, it can just be you don't want to do something, you don't feel like doing it. But once you know what it is, then you got you. Then you're able to do something about it. Because here's what happens is most people, they go, well, I don't know why I sleep in. I don't know why I hesitate. I don't know why I procrastinate. The fact is, if you just know that you do, you don't have to know why you do. If you know what it is that you're doing, why, what you're afraid of. If you go, well, I just don't want to be uncomfortable, or I'm afraid I'm going to lose, or I'm afraid I'm going to fail at this, or I'm afraid I'm going to hurt somebody's feeling, or I'm afraid I'm going to get rejected. All of those things, as soon as you recognize what they are, here's the key, and it's the key to the next thing, is that once you recognize it, you will feel it. And that is the third step. Feel it. Feel the pain. Feel the uncomfortableness on purpose. Feel it now. That's right. Generate the negative emotion now. Associate to what you don't want. Go through the process and that you often go through right before you don't achieve or do what you want. What does that mean? I call it kill the monster while it's a baby. Expose the monster. And that means cause yourself to feel bad on purpose. Why? Because now it's in front of you and you can do something about it. See, the challenge with most people is they try to do something without changing the feeling of negativity about it. And all they're doing is kind of covering it up, and all that's going to make is it's going to surface up a little bit later. And then they wonder why they don't go through with it. You must feel it on purpose. Now, I'm not saying mire in it and wallow in it, but just feel it for a moment. And as soon as it does, you move to the 4th step. Break the seal. Break the pattern. What does that mean? We call it a pattern interrupt. Now that you've triggered your negative emotions associated with certain activity, interrupt that pattern. Fill that space with newly chosen emotion instead. Here's what that means. Pay real close attention to this because this is really, really important. And this is such a valuable tool to help you change negative behaviors and fears and feelings and things. So here's what you do. If you feel bad and all of a sudden you change your physical body, then here's what happens. You create a blank spot in your mind. Let me give you an example. Have you ever done something like this? You're sitting in your house and you're watching television. And all of a sudden you see something on television, you go, oh, I got to go to the kitchen and get an ink pen. And right now you're focused on what's there, and you're focused on getting an ink pen, and you feel like you got that urgency, and all of a sudden you stand up and you go into the kitchen, and all of a sudden you're standing in the kitchen and you're going, what the hell did I come in here for? And you can't remember what you came in here for? I bet you've done that. Now, this is a very, very useful tool that we use in psychology to help somebody change, because when you do that, remember, when you're sitting there, you're focused on something, you are in an emotion called ink pen and going to the kitchen and getting the ink pen and whatever is there. You're focused on something, you're imagining something, your words are saying, I need ink pen. But as soon as you stand up, you interrupt that pattern and three things happen. Number one, you're no longer focused. You're no longer thinking about that. Number two, you create what's called a scotoma in psychology. You create a blank spot in your brain. That's why you can't remember what you're doing. And that third thing is that blank spot turns into a vacuum. A vacuum. And what does nature always want to do with a vacuum? It always wants to fill it up. And so you have deliberately interrupted that pattern. So when you feel bad, step number 3 was automatic or purposely, deliberately feel bad. And when you feel bad, while you're in it, you stand up and shake yourself out. And even if it's just for a couple of moments, you're no longer feeling bad. And in that moment, you move to step number 5. Step number 5 is to condition the new pattern. Now that you've begun conditioning yourself to feel the way that you want to feel, keep rehearsing that emotion until it becomes a habit. Condition the new pattern, reward yourself, and celebrate. Here's what that means. And I'm going to go through the steps, all of the steps here in just a second. But here's what that means. Conditioning just means rewarding yourself, means praising yourself, acknowledging yourself, patting yourself on the back, giving a smile, doing whatever to make yourself feel good, giving yourself an attaboy, whatever it is. Because as soon as you do, remember, we're emotional mechanical beings. And what that means is that as soon as you do that, as soon as those eyebrows go up, as soon as you pat yourself on the back, as soon as you smile, your brain releases endorphins, dopamines, oxytocin, and all those things that make us feel good. And the brain will always go, well, what just happened before then? And it'll go back to what just happened before, and it'll say, let's do it again. And in this case, you felt bad and you interrupted the pattern. And as soon as you celebrate and you smile, then guess what goes into that vacuum? Because remember, in step number 4, we created a vacuum. And what goes into that vacuum is the celebration, is the feel good. And your brain goes, wow, okay, forget that other stuff, let's just feel good. And now the very thing that used to make you feel bad is the thing that will make you feel good. You'll stop procrastinating. You'll stop having fear. And you do this over and over again. The second part of conditioning is rehearsal. Do it over and over again. Here's the system. Know what you want, okay? Then feel bad. Then interrupt that pattern. And then feel good. And then celebrate. Let me repeat myself because this is really important. Here's the whole system. If you just do this over and over again, you're going to find yourself not being able to feel bad about that thing, and you'll find yourself going further faster. Number 1, know what you want. Number 2, feel bad. In other words, know what stops you. Number 3, interrupt that pattern. Number 4, feel good. And then number 5, celebrate. You do that over and over again. Pretty soon, like I said, the very thing that used to stop you is the thing that's going to excite you, and you're going to find yourself getting up earlier, staying up later, doing the extra stuff, willingly and wanting to do those things. And you'll look back and go, I'm a badass. Look at how far I came. And so I'm going to give you an example, a story and something that happened in my life that when I started doing this, it changed everything, changed the entire trajectory and sped up everything. When I was in my late 20s, I was a musician, and all I wanted to do was to get a recording contract. But I had a problem. I knew I was a good enough musician, and I loved playing music and everything, but I was in school. I was playing in 3 different bands. I was in school, in college. I was working 10 hours a day on my job, and I had a relationship with my girlfriend, and I didn't have a lot of time. And so I saw an infomercial on television. This guy's my friend now. His name is Robert Allen. And Robert Allen had a real estate course, and he taught people how to flip houses. I took his course. I saved up some money. I took his course. And in his course, he taught us how to buy houses for no money down. And his claim to fame was, he says, if you buy 2 houses a year, then at the end of 10 years, you will have 20 houses or less, because some of them you'll sell, and you'll have a residual income that you can support yourself with. And I thought to myself, well, that's what I want. I want to be able to quit my job, because if that's taking up 10 hours of my day. And I thought, okay, well, I'll take this course. So I went to his course. And in the course, I said, Mr. Allen, your plan is 2 houses a day, 2 houses a year for the next 10 years. And I go, I don't have that kind of time. What if I did 10 houses a year for 2 years? And he laughed out loud, and he actually got the rest of the audience. He said, hey, listen, here's the question. And he said, of course you can do that. But here was the challenge. I didn't think I could do it. I was afraid. I procrastinated. I had all of these things. I got this job. I got all this other stuff. And so I did this formula. First off, I knew what I wanted. I wanted 10 houses a year at least. I knew that target. And so then I identified what I was afraid of. I was afraid that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't smart enough. And as soon as that feeling came out, I interrupted my pattern. And I stood up and I danced around and I got joyful. I pat myself on the back. And guess what? I did that over and over until pretty soon I couldn't feel bad anymore. And guess what? Then I was picking that phone up and I was looking, I was doing all the things that he said. In less than a year and a half's time, I bought 26 houses. And I still benefit from those houses today. And that was back in the 80s. Use this formula on whatever it is, and it'll work for you as well. Hey, so listen, I always want to make sure that I give you something that you can use. And so click on the link, because it's my gift to you. I have a book for you called Awesome Sauce. And in that book are more tips, strategies, and processes for you to do to produce results. Hey, so listen, thanks for watching. And I hope you are on your road to go further, faster as well. Make sure that you subscribe and ring the bell so that you get notified when we have new videos, because we got new videos and new stuff coming up all the time. And watch this new video, this next video. I think you're going to enjoy it.